I'm writing this journal entry to document my experience of a certain film. I'm probably already dead if anyone is reading this, but please read on. I hate Saki Sanobashi and what it has done to my life. Most importantly, I hate the deprived bastards who made it. Until recently, I've been an average college girl with only a notable quality. I love searching for lost media. Most people get a thrill from watching good horror movie. I'm no different with lost media. There's just something about the inclusive nature to it that makes it hunt so fascinating. There's countless amount of entertainment that vanishes from the public eye for whatever reason that many remain completely unforgotten. That never sat well with me. Maybe it's the history buff in me, but I believe every form of content should be preserved. It's scary to think that something that brings you joy could one day be forever lost into time. Saki Sanobashi is a name that has been plaguing me for the last few years now. Every lost media enthusiast worth their salt has at least heard of it, but they haven't already joined the hunt. I'm one of those several archivists who plunged headfirst into the monstrosity of a goose chase. I, like many others, got hooked on with this tragic premise of such a bunch of schoolgirls trapped into a bathroom where the death was only the way out. The morbid curiosity in all of us compels us to search high and low for this elusive anime. That was years ago. Now, Saki remains a distant memory in some minds of optimistic researchers. Dead end after dead end had led the entire thing being labeled as some elaborate hoax. Even I now began losing faith in the search despite all the time I invested in. It was disheartening knowing that one of the most fascinating lost media searches of all time could be fake. I would have entirely had not been for one fateful afternoon. It was typically brutal winter in Toronto, which meant the snowstorm would be picking up before the day was over. I thought it would be best to go to my favorite comic and stock up my favorite books before the storm trapped me at my home with my girlfriend. Marie Knorr was different from any other comic shops that there exists a secret selection of the store. Only a few selected know about it, because I've been a loyal customer for a few years. The owner trusted in showing me the back room. I was hesitant at first to see a secluded room alone with a man due to being a woman, but I figured that he wouldn't try anything with customers still in the store. What I saw in that room was stuff to wonder. Several shelves were stocked with underground comics, so obscure even the most hardcore archivists probably didn't even know about them. The type of comics you can't even find on the internet. It was heaven on earth for a lost media obsessed girl like me. The original post mentioned Saki being an anime, but I was desperate for any type of media out there. It was quite fascinating that there were also movies stocked with comics. The cover art on each DVD case was incredibly low quality, to the point that I assumed that the store owner had handmade them himself. There were no ISBNs or distributor info anywhere to be found, so my only theory seemed fairly likely if all things considered. I filled my bag with as many items as I could afford, which isn't a lot for a broke college student, and excitedly swiped my card at the counter. The store owner gave me the weirdest grins as I made my purchase. He seemed amused, but almost in a mocking sort of way. He hardly emotes in the first place, so that smile really caught me off guard. I left the store and boarded the closest train, and dropped me off at the dorms. Although Halloween comes in autumn, I feel like winter is the most ideal season to indulge in horror. The cold weather is like a reflection of the spine, chilling fear as whenever I read a good comic. I stepped inside my dorm room and immediately began browsing through my latest collection. They looked all so good, and I didn't know where to begin. As I rummaged through my pile of DVDs, I noticed something that threw me for a loop. One DVD case was completely blank. The cover was pitch black and it was also the back. There was nothing on the spine. I couldn't imagine buying something like that to show, so how it would end up in me was like a mystery. Still, I'd be lying if I said that I wasn't at least a bit intrigued by it. There could have literally been anything on that disc, and the only way to find out was to start the movie. I waited for my girlfriend to return from campus before starting the movie. Emily's a cute little brunette. She has zero tolerance for horror. She always shrieks her head off whenever I play movies in the living room. All that blood and gore drives her crazy. She greeted me with a kiss on the lips and then paused when she saw the devious smirk on my face. She already knew that what I had in store for her. Emily, of course, protested, but I pleaded with her to watch the movie with me. Seeing her scream like a child over a screen murder was sometimes more enjoyable than the movie itself. She remained firm and in her stance against it, but eventually broke down after enough of me begging. It feels so good to have things my way. I quickly inserted the DVD into an old game station and stared at the screen with anticipation for what looked like it was about to start. After several seconds of a blank screen, some Japanese text appeared with the English subtitles that read Requiem of the Lost Girls. A title naturally left me curious, so I watched with excitement. The scene then faded back to black, and what I saw after made my blood freeze solid. 3 schoolgirls are in the bathroom. All of them had miserable looks under utter despair. The scene was unmistakable. It was a scenario I ran over my head countless times. It was Saki's Sanobashi, the anime searched for years for. Having a legendary film before me all of this time was almost too good to be true. And to think of it, it came to my favorite comic shop. I've been shopping for a few years now, and never had something like Saki would be there. The scene was unmistakable. It was a scenario I ran over my head countless times. It was Saki Sanobashi. But of course, the anime had been searched for years. Having a legendary film before me, this time was too good to be true, and I think it came to my favorite comic shop. But at the same time, Emily was confused as to why I was so excited, so I told her we just discovered the holy grail of lost media. The gravity of the situation was unsurprisingly lost, but on her, she smiled anyway for my sake. We watched the movie unfold just like the legend went. The girls remained trapped in the bathroom and laminated their misfortune all the while. As the film progressed, the agony in their expressions became increasingly vice versa. Their eyes looked so hollow, their skin was so pale. Emily clutched into my hand with a hint of anxiety in her eyes. The tone of her video was much more somber than I expected. Seeing the girls take turns telling the others about their hopes and dreams, trying desperately to alleviate their situation. It felt oddly melancholic, but I was growing attached to these characters to the point I hoped they find a way to despise what was going on in the lore. We eventually reached a part where the girls realized that there was truly no way out of their situation, except for death. Their deaths was just as horrid as I expected them to be. One girl goaded one of the others to drowning her into the sink, and another clawed on her own neck and vice versa detail. The most painful part was the whole blood-curdling scream that the girl emitted as she bashed her head against the wall was far more realistic than it had every right to be. Despite all my fear, my heart raced with excitement. I had to write a blog post to let everyone know about my discovery. The internet would soon go wild once I told them the good news. I quickly went to my Tumblr page and started writing, but the site wouldn't load. I tried other social media sites, but nothing was working. I tried stepping outside in the hall to get a better reception, but the door wouldn't budge. The doorknob wouldn't move at all, no matter how hard I pulled. My girlfriend and I were both freaking out at this point. We tried opening windows, calling 911, and banging on the doors, all of which were in vain. We were somehow completely severed from the outside world. I wonder how the hell any of this was possible when this image of the movie flashed into my mind. We were trapped, just like the girls in Saki's Sanobashi, and so far we've spent 2 weeks in the hellhole of the apartment. Food has long since run out and any sense of hope is dead. It pains me to see Emily's body pale as winter, her eyes devoid of life. Neither of us can last much longer. I'm writing this document as a warning to anyone who is searching for Saki Sanobashi. Stay the hell away from it. It's a cursed film that dooms its viewers to suffer the same fate as the girls in the bathroom. I imagine the curse will be lifted once we die, and our belongings will soon be collected by our loved ones. Hopefully they will see this document and spread the news, or maybe they'll brush it off as a crazed rantings of a lunatic. I honestly don't know anymore. All I can say is stay safe, and never attempt to watch this damn movie. What's up, my pretties? It's the Lion Queen here. I want to appreciate you all for tuning into this video, and I do appreciate you guys supporting my video by giving this video likes and stuff. If you really enjoyed this video, be sure to leave a like, comment and subscribe if you're new, ring the bell for notifications to when I upload so that way you guys will get updated for whenever I upload. If you want to follow me on Twitter or DeviantArt, feel free to leave a follow on those if you are interested in following me on those socials. If you want to support my backup channel, known as Ms. Dark Shigo, feel free to subscribe to it, as a link to that will also be in the About page section. And with that being said, and that being the case, thank you so much for watching, my pretties, and as always, stay pretty.